Welcome back to the darkness, brothers and sisters. My name is Cicero, and this is day 2 of the Elder Scrolls 6 news update. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my thoughts for the eventual release date of Elder Scrolls 6 and how long we are going to likely be waiting. If somebody had to put me on the spot and ask me what I think will be the year that Elder Scrolls 6 releases, I would say most likely very, very late 2026, with a strong possibility that it would come out in 2027 sometime. The reason being here is that there's been multiple interviews where there has been word that Elder Scrolls 6 is currently in production and past the design phase. However, even Phil Spencer in an FTC interview talked about how the game could be up to 5 years left to develop, and this was in 2023, putting the game furthest out at 2028. Most of the time when you hear things like this, I think it's probably a little bit on the safe side. They probably are saying things at the very, very latest that it could release. So I think 2028 is kind of the back end of whenever we would be expecting to see the Elder Scrolls 6, in my opinion. Other reports and leaks have quoted the game to be around 3 years out, and this was all back in 2023, late 2023, which would mean that 2026 would probably be the year that the game is released, and 2027 being a very safe bet, with 2028 being the furthest out we could see. Now, just to give a little historical context, I looked up, because I was around, and I'll be getting in later days to those stories of what I was doing when Morrowind released and when Skyrim released and when Oblivion released. But just to give you a little bit of context and to actually see what these dates look like, the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, the first game that I played when I was a fairly young child, was released on May 1st, 2002. So that game was released back in 2002, which is now over 22 years ago. So I was a fairly young boy. Then around 4 years later, on March 20th, 2006, so the gap between the Elder Scrolls 3 and the Elder Scrolls 4 was 4 years, and Oblivion released on March 20th, 2006. Now, for those of you that don't remember Oblivion, or maybe weren't alive at that time, Oblivion, when it released, was absolutely groundbreaking and insane in terms of the graphics and the amount of technological improvement that happened from Morrowind to Oblivion. Now, in a later daily, I'm going to be talking about what I feel is my favorite Elder Scrolls game and why, but I will say this: Oblivion was the one that blew me away the most when I first played it. And it's pretty insane that they did all this in only 4 years' time, and kind of telling on the gaming industry in general nowadays that it's taking longer and longer and longer to have less and less games. Then we move on to the year 2011, so about 5 years has elapsed in this case, and we go to November 11th, 2011. Now, I remember very specifically where I was, and I actually went to the midnight launch for the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, which I'm going to dedicate a video to that and tell you my story, because it is a very interesting story. But the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is something that I very much remember just like it was yesterday, and was one of the greatest gaming experiences I ever had. We'll talk about that. I don't want to get into what I think is the best and why, because it would make this video very long. We'll have a specific day just talking about this. But Elder Scrolls Skyrim basically released in 2011. That puts us now at 13 years. Now, to be honest, guys, I want to be very frank about this. I try to be very truthful and very direct. I think the Elder Scrolls 6 has been delayed. I think Starfield was, even though it was an interesting entry and something that I did enjoy playing, I definitely feel that the delay from Elder Scrolls 5 to Elder Scrolls 6 has taken way too long 13 years is too long, and it's probably going to end up being more like 15 to 17 years. However, for those of you that think that The Elder Scrolls 6 won't be groundbreaking, I highly disagree. I think The Elder Scrolls 6 will be one of the most groundbreaking games ever made when it releases, because Bethesda Game Studios kind of knows that their whole reputation hinges on the Elder Scrolls franchise. It always has, and it pretty much always will from this point, in my opinion. And I think that Elder Scrolls 6, seeing that, it was originally announced back in 2018, it had such a long buildup. I really believe that they know that it needs to be groundbreaking, and they know it needs to push every limit. And I am extremely excited, even though I know that these dailies will take a period of years. I am so happy to have you on this journey with me. And one day we will get that copy of the game. I wish it was physical copies with maps like we had for Skyrim. And I'll be discussing that. So please, if you enjoy this and want to hear some of my history about the game, subscribe. Comment below what you were doing when Skyrim released, and I'm going to be going over that in a video in a few days. But Elder Scrolls 6, when it releases, is going to be groundbreaking. And basically, to tie this back to the beginning of the video, I do believe we will get it between 2026 and 2027, with, I think, a 90 to 95% chance that it will be the fall or winter of 2026. So let me know down in the comments what you think. When will The Elder Scrolls 6 release? Where do you think it will be held in? Like, what part of the world of The Elder Scrolls universe will it be held in? That will be a separate video as well that I'll be talking about my thoughts and what I think is likely. But yes, thank you so much, guys. This has been day 2 of The Elder Scrolls 6 news. You will be getting daily updates and theories, anything I have that day, any news that we have. This is your one-stop shop. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you for day 3.